Welcome to the School of the Lost Tribes. Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Jacob is not merely speaking words of farewell. He is functioning in the role of a patriarch prophet. His words are intended to reveal the destiny of his sons and their descendants, what will happen to each tribe in the last davs. The phrase, last days, Hebrew, Be'acharit Hayamim, is crucial. It often refers not to an immediate future, but to a prophetic end-time relevance, especially concerning the regathering or future state of Israel. Thus, Jacob is addressing the future of the whole house of Israel. This is not merely a family gathering, but a foundational prophetic utterance with implications for the scattered tribes. Genesis 49:2. Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. The repetition of the command to gather emphasizes the solemnity and unity required to receive what is being spoken. Notice the double identification: sons of Jacob and Israel your father. This reinforces that the message is both personal, as Jacob, and national, as Israel. It also serves to link the individual identities of the sons with their tribal nation identity, underscoring that these words concern not only them personally, but the collective destiny of the nation of Israel, particularly as it would unfold through history and into the time of regathering. Genesis 49:3. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Jacob begins by acknowledging Reuben's status as the firstborn. He was the first sign of Jacob's strength and virility. This position naturally carried the expectation of leadership, double portion, and priestly rights within the family. Reuben was to be the pinnacle of dignity and power among the tribes. However, this verse sets up the contrast that follows. Jacob is describing what Reuben should have been by birthright. Genesis 49:4. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed. Then defiledst thou it. He went up to my couch. Reuben's instability is likened to water shifting, lacking form, and unable to be contained. This metaphor suggests emotional impulsiveness and lack of control, which is directly tied to his sin with Bilhah, Jacob's concubine, Genesis 35:22. That act not only violated his father's honor, but disqualified him from the privileges of the firstborn. Thus, although Reuben was biologically first, his tribe would not excel or lead. This demotion had long-term national implications, as no prophet, king, or significant leader came from Reuben's tribe. Genesis 49:5. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. Jacob identifies their brotherhood not just biologically, but in shared disposition and actions. Instruments of cruelty refers to their coordinated violence, specifically the massacre of the men of Shechem, Genesis 34, where they deceitfully slew the city's males in revenge for the defiling of their sister Dinah. The phrase, in their habitations, or councils, implies their plotting was done in secret, suggesting not only violence, but treachery and premeditation. Genesis 49:6. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Jacob distances himself spiritually and honorably from their actions. His soul and honor must not be aligned with their secret plans or violent assembly. The phrase slew a man is a poetic singular for the mass killing in Shechem. Dig down a wall may refer to their destructive and reckless nature. tearing down security and peace with no just cause. It indicates destruction beyond even the initial provocation. Genesis 49:7. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Jacob curses not Simeon and Levi personally, but their anger and wrath. This distinction keeps their place among the tribes, but strips them of consolidated tribal strength. The prophecy of division is fulfilled historically. Simeon receives land within Judah's territory and becomes absorbed, Joshua 19:1-9, while Levi is scattered as a priestly tribe without a territorial inheritance, Numbers 35:1-8. However, Levi's scattering later becomes sanctified due to their loyalty during the golden calf incident, Exodus 32:26, showing that repentance can repurpose discipline into honor, still within the bounds of Israel. Genesis 49:8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. The name Judah, Yahwadah, is a play on the Hebrew word for praise, and this verse affirms that his name aligns with his future destiny. Judah is prophesied to become the leading tribe among his brethren. The phrase, thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies, signals military victory and dominion. Thy father's children shall bow down suggests leadership and authority within Israel, pointing prophetically to kingship, ultimately fulfilled in David, and later, the Messiah, both from Judah. Genesis 49:9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? Judah is compared to a lion, a symbol of strength, authority, and kingship. Whelp indicates youth. But the rest of the verse develops the image. The lion conquers, then rests secure. This points to Judah's development from a tribal leader into a powerful, settled dominion, one that is fierce in conquest, yet not easily provoked. This imagery becomes foundational to later messianic prophecy. The lion of the tribe of Judah, Revelation 5:5, Genesis 49:10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be. This is a cornerstone verse. The scepter symbolizes ruling authority, and the lawgiver, or commander's staff, shows judicial and legislative power. These will remain with Judah until Shiloh come. Shiloh is often interpreted as a title for the Messiah, meaning he to whom it belongs, or rest bringer. The prophecy is that Judah's tribal line will produce rulers, e.g. David, culminating in the Messiah, to whom all Israelite tribes, the people, will gather. This confirms Judah's central role in the destiny of Israel, Genesis 49:11. Binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. These poetic metaphors suggest abundance and prosperity. Where vines are so plentiful, one can tie animals to them without concern. But the imagery also evokes messianic overtones. Washing garments in wine and blood of grapes suggests both prosperity and a foreshadowing of judgment and sacrifice, themes later tied to the Messiah's dual role as king and redeemer of Israel. Genesis 49:12. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. This verse continues the theme of abundance and vitality. Red eyes from wine and white teeth from milk symbolize richness, health, and fullness. These are blessings linked to the Messianic age, when Judah's descendant rules and brings restoration to the house of Israel. Genesis 49:13. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. This brief prophecy identifies Zebulun with maritime activity and trade. Although Zebulun's actual land inheritance, Joshua 19:10-16, was inland, the prophecy indicates that his territory would be near enough to benefit from coastal access. The haven of the sea and proximity to Zidon, a key Phoenician port, suggest involvement in commerce or serving as a channel between sea traders and inland tribes. In Israelite doctrine, this hints at a specific role for Zebulun within the national economy and connectivity. Zebulun represents a tribe that supports Israel's broader function among nations, not through dominance, but through provision and alliance. This also aligns with Deuteronomy 33:18-19, where Moses blesses Zebulun and Issachar for their cooperative roles, one going out to sea, the other dwelling in tents, both contributing to the welfare of Israel. Genesis 49:14. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. This metaphor presents Issachar as a robust and enduring donkey, a beast known for strength and the capacity to bear heavy loads. The image of couching down between two burdens, or saddlebags, suggests rest under labor, implying both servitude and stability. It portrays Issachar as a tribe with the physical and moral capacity to serve in a stable, though possibly submissive role within Israel. Genesis 49:15. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Issachar chooses a life of contentment and rest over struggle. In exchange for enjoying a fertile and pleasant land, he bows his shoulder and accepts a burdensome role, likely referring to agricultural labor or political subservience in later tribal history. His tribe is portrayed as one that trades influence for peace and sustenance, perhaps reflecting a tendency toward acceptance of external dominance if it preserves internal well-being. Genesis 49:16. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. The name Dan means judge, and this prophecy affirms that his name aligns with his function. Though born of a handmaid, Dan will take a rightful place among the tribes. His tribe will exercise judicial authority or leadership, possibly indicating a historical role in adjudication or military strategy. The reference to judging his people could also hint at his tribe's independent or distinctive disposition within Israel. Genesis 49:17. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. Here Jacob shifts tone dramatically. Dan is likened to a snake, specifically a venomous one lying in wait. The imagery is one of cunning and sudden, debilitating strikes. This prophecy suggests a tribe that influences events from a position of apparent weakness, using strategy over strength. Historically, Dan's tribe was associated with idolatry, Judges 18, and this imagery may also foreshadow that treacherous behavior, influencing others to fall. Genesis 49:18. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. This sudden cry breaks the pattern of the tribal blessings. It appears as a pause in Jacob's prophecy, expressing a yearning for divine intervention. In context, this could be a plea for deliverance from the danger or apostasy associated with Dan, or a prophetic longing for the eventual redemption of Israel amidst these tribal destinies. Genesis 49:19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. The name Gad means troop or fortune, and this verse plays on that meaning. The prophecy describes a tribe that will experience military adversity, overrun by enemies or aggressors. Yet, the final word is one of victory. He shall overcome at the last. Gad's tribe settled east of the Jordan River, Numbers 32, a frontier region prone to attacks. This prophecy accurately portrays their vulnerable position, but also their resilience and ability to strike back. In Israelite doctrine, Gad represents the spirit of perseverance among the scattered tribes, those who, despite setbacks and opposition, endure and eventually prevail. Genesis 49:20. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Asher's name means happy or blessed, and this prophecy speaks to prosperity. The tribe of Asher is promised richness. Fat bread refers to abundant and luxurious food, indicative of fertile land and productivity. Royal dainties suggest that Asher would produce food of such quality it could serve kings, linking his territory with culinary or material wealth. Asher's inheritance along the northern coast of Canaan, Joshua 19:24-31, was agriculturally rich and well-positioned for trade. While not dominant politically, Asher's role was one of abundance and support, bringing wealth to the nation, perhaps even contributing to royal households. Genesis 49:21. Naphtali is a hind let loose, he giveth goodly words. Naphtali is likened to a hind, a female deer, known for speed, grace, and agility. Let loose suggests freedom, vitality, and possibly military swiftness. This tribe is portrayed as liberated and expressive, perhaps in both physical prowess and in character. The phrase, he giveth goodly words, points to eloquence, wisdom, or possibly prophetic utterance. Deborah, the prophetess and judge, came from Naphtali's region, Judges 4-5, and her inspired song may reflect this prophetic poetry. Genesis 49:22. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Joseph is depicted as a fruitful tree planted by a well, a classic image of divine blessing, abundance, and endurance. The branches run over the wall shows that Joseph's influence and fruitfulness exceed boundaries, pointing to both physical multiplication, his two tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh, and geographical dispersion. This is a prophecy of expansion beyond the immediate land, a foreshadowing of the 10 tribes being sown among the nations. Genesis 49:23. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. Here, Joseph's trials are remembered. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into Egypt, falsely accused, and imprisoned. The archers symbolize these adversaries who attacked his character and life. Yet despite the attacks, Joseph remained steadfast. Genesis 49:24. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Joseph's strength was not his own, it was divine. God sustained him, making his bow, his strength or weaponry, strong. The phrase, from thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, is critical. It points to the leadership and foundational role Joseph's line plays in Israel's future. Though Judah holds the scepter, Joseph is the protector and sustainer, the one through whom deliverance came during famine, and through whom much of the northern kingdom's strength was built. Genesis 49:25. Even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. Joseph is declared heir to layered blessings, heavenly, earthly, and generational. These cover spiritual prosperity, material wealth, and prolific offspring. His inheritance spans the full scope of covenantal abundance. Genesis 49:26. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Jacob declares that his blessings upon Joseph surpass those received by his ancestors, reaching unto the everlasting hills, a poetic way of saving eternal and far-reaching. Joseph is honored as separate from his brethren, both in the way he was treated and in the way he excelled. Genesis 49:27. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. Benjamin is compared to a wolf, fierce, aggressive, and successful in battle. Raven means to tear apart or plunder, showing Benjamin's tribe as warrior-like, relentless, and capable of both conquest and division of loot. In the morning, devour the prey, and at night, divide the spoil, paints a full-day picture. This tribe is active and victorious from dawn to dusk. Historically, the tribe of Benjamin was known for fierce warriors, such as the left-handed slingers, Judges 20:16, and Saul, Israel's first king. Though small in size, Benjamin held strategic importance near Jerusalem and produced zealous defenders of the nation. Even Paul, Saul of Tarsus, descended from Benjamin, a man once fierce in opposition, later repurposed in service. After speaking over each of his sons, the 12 patriarchs of the tribes of Israel, Jacob concluded his blessings, delivering to each one a word fit to his destiny. These weren't mere parting words, but divinely inspired utterances, shaped by their character and calling within the nation. Each blessing held prophetic weight, laying the foundation for the future of Israel's sons and their generations. Then, with a solemn final charge, Jacob turned their thoughts from the distant future back to the promise of the land. He said, "I am to be gathered unto my people." He was not speaking of burial alone, but of reunion with Abraham, with Isaac, and with the covenant family. His instructions were clear. He was not to remain in Egypt, but to be buried in the land of Canaan, in the cave of Machpelah, the field Abraham had bought from Ephron the Hittite as a burial place. He recounted that there, in that sacred family ground, Abraham and Sarah were laid to rest, Isaac and Rebekah too, and Leah, Jacob's own wife, was buried there. This was not merely a grave, but a testimony of faith in the promises made to their fathers. The cave and the field were purchased, secured by covenant and sacrifice, a claim of inheritance for the children of Israel. Having said all that was needed, Jacob gathered his feet into the bed, surrendered his spirit, and was gathered unto his people. His earthly journey ended, but his legacy woven into the eternal purpose of Israel.